guys, this is Heather at Homeschool Culture, and I think I'm on my 4th video of the day. So my voice is starting to go a little bit, but I could not finish the day without doing this Christian Studies look through and review. I have done Christmas Studies 1 and 2, and I have 3 that I think I bought used. So I'll kind of just show you what each book covers, but I'm going to go in depth on just Christian Studies 1. Now, notice I only have the teacher's manual. That is because we do this during morning basket, and it is definitely, although next year we might not just do it my son, one-on-one with my son. It is definitely something that I don't focus on my kiddo, writing down the answers to the questions and all that. I make it very much discussion. Therefore, I don't have to purchase the student manual, which I did do initially, but I ended up selling. This is the 2nd edition. And my book 2 is a 2nd edition, and my book 3 is a 3rd edition. All 3 editions do use this Golden Children's Bible. As I go through it, I guess maybe you'll decide if it's something that you think that you could use. Maybe if you already have a children's Bible, that is a pretty in-depth, as you can tell, it's both Old Testament and New. And if you don't, let's say you don't want to necessarily purchase this one, I do think you could use other children's Bibles, reading through the questions, still getting the same, obviously the Bible's the Bible, right? Still the same concepts. And then maybe pick up, if you're wanting to do all of these, if you're wanting to do all the lessons, but maybe not every story is in your children's Bible, then you could just read, your own personal Bible to them and still get the same story and be able to go through it. I'm not sure if you'll be able to do that or not. That's just I'm just throwing that out there, just in case some of y'all are trying to, save money here and there on different things. That is one way to do it. Again, I save money by not purchasing the student because we do not write in there. They also have flashcards that you can purchase, which I did initially, but we did not utilize them. And so I guess it really just depends on how you're looking at it. Now, I am working, if I would have done this with my now 9th grader, about to be 10th grader, if I would have done this more like 6th, 7th, and 8th grade with her, then I might have made it more like an elective type course, as well as, a Bible study, and maybe have had her do that. With my younger kiddo, I'm not going to do that, just like I did not with her. But it's great. I love it. It's a great discussion. So do I recommend it? Absolutely. I'm reusing it this year. I went ahead and because I already sold it once, I went and bought it again. I was one of those things that I was like, oh, I'll, just pick up something else. But even through picking up other things, which were not bad, I went back to this because I thoroughly enjoyed it and thought it was that beneficial. So let me go ahead and turn it around and I will dive into it. Oh, before I do that, I am going to recommend this as well. It's the Then and Now Bible Maps. I can't remember if Memoria Press suggests this or not. I kind of feel like it came as like a big pack. But if you don't have this, even if you don't use this curriculum, this isn't necessarily a Memoria Press book, but they do sell it there. It is wonderful. It goes over, and I'll show you more in depth here in a second of how this is used. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and start with the actual Golden Children's Bible. And it's colorful. It's full of pictures. It does have a little bit of mapping, so you can see right there. But it does go through the Old Testament, the creation and the patriarchs, Exodus from Egypt, the rise of Israel, the period of the prophets. Then it starts with the New Testament, the early years of Jesus, the crucifixion in the early church. And it ends with, if you can see right there, it ends with the vision of John, a new heaven and earth. And so when I was reading through this, somehow, I don't know how, but somehow my daughter was also kind of almost doing the same timeline in church, and which was really neat because it was reinforcing it. Plus we were doing Mystery of History, which reinforces it too. So it was really neat. But I definitely think the quality of the picture is good. The text is good. I never read anything when I did it initially, which was, 5 years ago now, maybe. Anything that, wasn't biblical truth. So I'm just going to tell you that now. All right. So the next thing is the Bible Now and Then. And what I love about this is, and I still use this all the time for other things, for history, etc. So it gives you like the now. Can y'all see that? Gives you the now. And so it shows you like all of the different, what things are today versus what it was during biblical times. It also gives dates. So it does the Holy Land, the Old Testament, and it gives, again, it has different overlays based on that. The New Testament, the Holy Land, the New Testament. Paul's journey, which I think is very important to know all the different things that where Paul went. The last days of Jesus in Jerusalem, kind of talks about some of those things, and then it kind of gives a mini timeline as well. So fabulous. And then, oh yeah, and then of course the index, just if you're looking for something specific, it'll maybe help you quickly get to it. Okay, so Christian Studies Book 1 is all major Bible stories up to the entry into Canaan. Book 2 is the rise and fall of Israel in the period of the prophets. And book 3 goes all major New Testament stories. So if you're kind of wondering how is it broken up into 3 different books, that's how it's broken up. Again, I'm going to focus mainly on book 1 today. And I'm going to just reiterate one more time, I do not have the student manual, but as I flip through, you'll actually be able to see what the student pages look like. Okay, so for instance, let me get y'all down so y'all can have a better view. So right here is what your student book would look like. So each lesson has facts to know, a memory verse, and then questions. So for instance, in questions, what is an image? How is man like God? And then it will give answers. And then over here are actually comprehension questions that go with the text that they're reading. And then these are like activities, like these are map activities, which, another reason these, kind of, I think are great to have. It'll tell you, find like for here, Mesopotamia, Iraq, Euphrates River, Tigris River, and then memorize the 7 days of creation. So these are just additional activities. There is, and I think I have it, and I didn't print it off because again, it's been 5 years, but I still think I have it. There is something that you can purchase through Memoria Press that goes over that is like a schedule, and it breaks it down, how, what to do each lesson, etc. If I was going to use this as like an actual Bible study for like maybe a middle schooler or something like that, or an upper elementary, then I might utilize that. But since we're doing it the way we do it, I'm not. So how do I utilize this? I'll read through the background and the summary myself, and then any points that I think are, really, really, which there usually are great points to, to bring up, I will share those. I will go over myself, the vocabulary and expressions, because again, some of these things, so they're just things that you maybe haven't seen in a while, or maybe you just didn't know, so you can just familiarize yourself with those terms and expressions. And then what's the one thing? Okay, and then it talks about selected reading as well. So this is something, again, that you could read as a, that you can do yourself and decide if you want to do it as a group, or maybe it's just something that will help you through this as well. Because the way I present it is kind of a Bible lesson to them. Part of this does have tests. Again, it's not something that we do in our home, but just so that you know that they do have tests, they even tell you what specific information will be on the test based on facts to know, like number 2, 3, 4, 5, 8, and 9 are on the test. Comprehension question number 5 is on the test. Memory verse question, what is dominion? That's on the test, etc. And so these are just things, again, activities 1, like Mesopotamia on the map. All of them. And the activity, what are the 7 days of creation? So all of that information will be on an upcoming test if you choose to do that. So these are just some additional activities. Copy book, verse review. Appendix, give the first word of the 2 verses and see how many students can complete it. So if we go to the appendix, you'll see back here, these are the different verses that are memorized throughout the book. And so this is just going over that. All right, so then like moving on to lesson 2, it's going to be set up the very same way. You have your background summary, some selected reading, some vocabulary and expressions to look over. Again, what the student pages look like, the questions and the answers. But then also, I love that it brings in geography. I mean, I think all that information is so important to know about. And then, of course, in this household, we love geography. So we always go into that information. And so again, so like that would be lesson 1, 2, 3. Here are some teacher notes that are something extra on this lesson. Like right here, it's talking about a family tree. And so it actually shows what the family tree looks like. That's something that you could recreate or just show them. And then like with lesson 5, here is just a lot more, it just dives deep in a lot more information. So it looks like we did about 5 lessons, and then they'll go to a unit lesson review. Now, again, this isn't something that I'm going to have my child do, but we might go over it. Like, do you remember what, day 1 through 7 are? And so him and I will discuss those things. And again, it's just reiterating that prior knowledge. Do you remember what the Latin for image of God is, et cetera, et cetera. And so I could do this verbally with him, since obviously he doesn't have the student edition. We can do this just as a verbal review. And then this is just some more additional. So you can see how in depth you could truly make this if you're wanting to use it as an elective for a middle schooler, or even, I would like to say almost as a high school, using maybe a different Bible. But, and then here are some maps as well, to do some different map work. And so again, on and on, it goes very much similar. You go through so many lessons and then you do reviews, etc. Now, the back on the appendix. So appendix always had, sometimes we forget about this, but sometimes the appendix has really great information. So the appendix, like I said, is a place where all the copybook verses are. So you can go as you go through them. You might be able to turn back to this quickly and say, okay, do you remember, and then kind of start it out for them and see if they remember some of the verses they maybe memorized. This is what they consider drill questions. So for instance, how long did the rain last? It lasted 40 days, 40 nights. So those are just very, very simple drill type questions from the Old Testament. Who said that? So that's kind of fascinating. Different quotes from the Bible, and you could see if they remember who actually said it. This is a timeline. Family tree. Oh, books of the Old Testament. So kind of like the law, the history, wisdom, major prophets, etc. And then here are the actual tests. We're not going to use these tests as tests, but you could. And it's also just something, again, that we could just go over as more review. And if it's something that they're really enjoying and good at, maybe you do it anyways because you just, they enjoy doing it. Maybe give them that option if it's something that you don't necessarily do all the time. And then you could just photocopy it, or if you don't plan on reselling it or anything, or reusing it for other students, you could just let them, do it out of the book. But yeah, that is it. That is Christian Studies. Again, there's 3 levels. I want to say, if I remember correctly, I want to say this is more geared towards elementary. So if you didn't know, Memoria Press I would say, follows the classical approach, classical education. So if you don't know what that is, you might want to just look into that. But it is a lot of memory work and map work. Okay, guys, that is going to be it. Again, just remember, whenever you're dealing with curriculum, you make that curriculum work for you. So I appreciate the in-depth view of this curriculum. I appreciate all of the questioning, and instead of making it more where it's a student-led curriculum, I definitely do it kind of as a group. So it's a family, or even if it's just one-on-one, but I make it more discussion-based. And I love the mapping, and it just brings up, to me, it just highlights really good information that, again, because I don't create curriculum, I might not know to look at or to highlight whenever I'm going over just Bible with my sons, or Bible with my kiddos. So that is why I love this Memoria Press Christian Studies. Again, I bought this one used. If you saw my latest haul video, which was mostly Rainbow Resource, but then I added this to the mix. I bought this used on Thrift Books. I want to say it was with shipping and everything was under $5. It was like $4.60 or something like that. Again, anytime you buy used like that, it can be hit or miss, but it was excellent quality and super cheap price. Don't forget also Facebook Marketplace, things like that have used books as well. And so if it's something like you're kind of on the fence and you want to see, maybe do a year before you decide to get like the student book and all of that. And then maybe even use, like if you already have a great children's Bible you like, you could use that children's Bible with this, and, just kind of supplement here and there where you need to, with other Bibles and in the map and things like that. But I definitely recommend it. I love it. And we just make it our own. We make it work for our family. Just remember that whenever you're doing curriculum, it doesn't have to be so rigorous. You do everything that the curriculum suggests. It's just a suggestion. All right, I hope you enjoyed this. If you did, please hit that like button. If you haven't already subscribed, please do so. Again, I'm losing my voice because I've done like 4 or 5 videos today. I have a bunch of videos coming out, some hauls. I have some videos coming out on supplements for struggling learners and just strategies, things like that I just have recently came across. And I also have some more curriculum reviews for high school literature, and I'll have one for high school writing coming out. So I hope you have a super blessed day and a blessed week, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.